What is up, guys? Jimmy here with another Lots of Games video. Hope all of you guys are having an incredible week. Let's talk about Xbox. This is something that's been on my mind for several months now, a whole lot. I've been on YouTube for over 10 years. And just to be quite honest, I would have not started my YouTube channel if it wasn't for the Xbox platform. You know, over 10 years ago, I had that collector's edition for Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. I had the collector's edition. No one was really doing unboxing videos on YouTube. I didn't even want to start a channel. I just wanted to upload it because I knew there was a lot of fans of the Oblivion series. But they're like, no, you have to start a channel. And so I'm like, okay, I'll start a channel. And I would upload videos and talk with gamers, you know, read the comments, and it became very, very fun. And I've never looked back. It has been one of the most fun, rewarding experiences of my life. And like I said, all this was made possible by the Xbox platform. You know, the Xbox 360 for me, it's one of my favorite gaming consoles of all time. The amount of games in the library for that system was just so wonderful and so unbelievable. Kind of like put things in perspective. You know, we have over here the Xbox 360 Slim. When the Xbox 360 was first launched, I guess you could say the Xbox 360 Fat, you know, pretty much everyone in time ended up getting the red ring of death. You know, if you think about that, a gaming console that was so defective when it was released to the tens of millions, or how many people bought the original Xbox 360, not the Slim version, it had overheating problems. And a lot of people just, once that happened, they went to the PlayStation 3 or they went to PC, they just stopped doing it. But a lot of people, because of the amount of games and the quality of some of these games on the Xbox 360, they stuck with the platform. That was the power of the platform or the library for the Xbox 360. It was focused so heavily on the games. And so, you know, I started this channel back in 2007. In 2009, this was an interesting thing that took place. Now, the Xbox 360 was already selling very, very well, which was a huge step forward considering that the original Xbox system got stomped pretty hard by the PS2. So, you know, when the 360 was going to be released, a lot of people were like, oh, you know, the PlayStation is going to continue to steamroll the Xbox brand. But it was quite the battle. It was quite the console war between the PS3 and the Xbox 360. It was really exciting, very interesting. You know, I had both systems. I was very happy because they're always trying to outdo one another. And what happened was gamers ended up getting these awesome games and these great experiences because they are always trying to do their best to make sure that their customers or their audience were happy, which was great for us gamers that had a PS3 or Xbox 360. You know, they were totally duking it out. So what happens is I had my channel, and about a year and a half later, in 2009, you know, of course, the Xbox 360 continued to sell well, but what happened was we kind of shifted things even more in favor of the Xbox brand. Was what happened and how it all started is like a limited amount of people. I would say like 200 to 300 people were at the E3 conference of when the Xbox 360 Connect was revealed. What happened was Major Nelson had a contest going on his Twitter page. He's like, hey, if you want to win a pair of tickets to E3 and check out the Xbox E3 conference live show, you know, enter this thing. And I entered it, and actually I won. I won a pair of tickets. And you know, Paul McCartney was there, Ringo Starr was there, Tony Hawk was there. They did the world reveal of Left 4 Dead 2. They did world reveals for all these other games. Hideo Kojima was there. It was a big deal. But what kind of was the big deal in terms of ended up pushing in the future Xbox 360 sales is they introduced the Kinect. And I'll be honest, when they first showed the Kinect, I'm like, okay, if they can actually say what they're proving, I don't know if it's going to happen, but this is some serious hype. And down the road, like a year and a half after that, it didn't release that year, but I believe it released in 2010. When the Kinect ended up launching on the 360, a lot of people bought the system with the Kinect. It was a big hit. The PlayStation, the Xbox 360, the PlayStation 3 had the Move, and the Xbox 360 had the Kinect. They wanted some type of motion control ability or something so that their audience like, oh, the Wii's got the motion control, we've got that too. But when the Kinect launched on the Xbox 360, it rocketed even further in terms of the mainstream and the sales. Tens of millions of systems were sold. The Xbox 360 Slim was a huge hit. It was great because it was a much more reliable system when compared to the first release of the Xbox 360 or the Xbox 360 Fat. And so, but ultimately for me, why I was such a big fan of the Xbox 360, I endured a couple different Red Ring of Deaths and for my console, but I still wanted to play the system just because the amount of games that were on it and the quality of games. It had some real exclusives, it had console exclusives, and of course the PS3 exclusives as well, but they're really duking it out. And they had, the 360 had exclusives like, Lost Odyssey, and for a while, it ended up becoming a multi-platform, but Star Ocean, that was an exclusive for a while, and this one sold crazy when it first launched in Japan. The 360 console, when you compare time frames, like the first however many years the Xbox One has been out and the Xbox 360 has been out, the 360 has sold a lot more because they had a lot of JRPGs, they had a lot of exclusives, and so the Xbox One really hasn't sold as well as the, and we'll get to that in a little bit, the Xbox One really hasn't sold as much in Japan when compared with the 360. Of course, the PS3 sold way more than 360 in Japan, but, games like Star Ocean really moved systems and moved games. It sold a lot of games when compared to the amount of systems that were out at the time. But then also you had exclusives like Crackdown that I love. This is one of my favorite games of last generation. I've been having a lot of fun with it, backwards compatibility. And also, of course, the 360 introduced the Gears of War series. The Gears of War 1, 2, and 3 sold millions of copies, and you're like, well, that's great, with the Gears of War 1, 2, and 3, they probably sold over 20, 25 million copies altogether, and that's good, but really what made Xbox even more and Microsoft even more money was the fact that people were signing up for Xbox Live Gold. And we'll talk about Xbox Live Gold as well, but also multi-platform games. Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, this is one that on the 360, I believe it sold over 10 million copies, or around 10 million. That's a lot, 50, 60 bucks a pop times 10 million. You're talking about around $500 million. I love this one, and I played this one so much. Then you had some really interesting titles as far as platforms were concerned. At first, this was an Xbox 360 exclusive, Tales of Vesperia. You can see that, okay, I'm not sure if you can see that, but Tales of Vesperia, this was released on the 360, then eventually it came out on the PS3, but only in Japan, and a lot of people have really wanted this to come out. This, in fact, was an exclusive as far as keeping it outside of Japan. In Japan, you can get it on the PS3, which apparently on the PS3, it even has more voice dialogue and has more content, but on the 360, or for Tales of Vesperia, you could only get it on the 360 to a certain extent. But, of course, the 360 sold a whole lot of games in terms of third-party games, like the Call of Duties and the Grand Theft Auto games sold very, very well on the 360 as well. But, kind of going back with the, when the Kinect was launched, it was such a big hit on the 360. And the thing, though, that I did like and I did appreciate, it gave you the option. You could buy the system, you could buy the Xbox 360 without the Kinect. But if you wanted the Kinect, you could buy a system bundle. If you were like, you know what, I want to wait, I'm just going to get the system and maybe I'll get the Kinect. They sold it separately. The big problem, so let's just clear it out. Let's just get this out of the way. The 360, it was a hit. The Wii was a hit. The PS3 was a hit. It is possible to have multiple successes. When you go back to the PS2, GameCube, and Xbox, the GameCube didn't really sell that well. It sold, I think, around 20, 30 million units. The Xbox, the original Xbox, I'm not sure how many consoles sold, but didn't sell well. The PS2 really killed it. They really did an amazing job. But the following generation, pretty much everyone found a lot of success, and the 360 was no exception. So when the Xbox One was about to be, announced and released, people were really looking forward to it because you have tens of millions of Xbox 360 owners, and a lot of those owners are like, you know what, I'm ready for the next step. I'm ready for the next generation. You've got these 4K TVs coming out, and I'm ready for it. I'm excited for the next generation of Xbox. Then they introduced the system, and a lot of people are like, okay, what does this entail? What does this involve? Well, Xbox, they learned that they found a lot of success with the Kinect. So they're like, tell you what, we're going to release the Xbox One, but you have to buy it with the Kinect. The PlayStation 4 launched, when it launched at $400. But when the Xbox One launched, it launched for $500, at least in the States. And you had to buy the Kinect system. And for, journalists are like, well, does this mean that you have to have the Kinect on to play the Xbox One? They're like, you have to buy it with the Xbox One. You have to buy the Kinect with the Xbox One. Otherwise, it will not work. And that turned a lot of people off because that was a big shift in policy when compared with the Xbox 360. You didn't have to get the Kinect, but they're like, you know what? The Kinect's going to make this system, the Kinect 2.0 or whatever it was, going to make the Xbox One that much more better, take things much more immersive to the next level. That turned a lot of gamers off because they're like, a lot of gamers out there, $100 is a big deal. I make episodes of super cheap games where you can get games for $10 or $5. You get, for cheap games, you can get a decent amount of games for $100 if you're looking in the right place, especially if you're at garage sale. So people are like, well, I can get the PS4 for $400, or I can get the Xbox One for $500. And they're making me buy the Xbox One with the Kinect. That doesn't seem right. It didn't sit well with a lot of people. And so unfortunately, a lot of people jumped ship. The big problem, the big issue that I had is sometimes when companies or people become very, very successful, they're less prone to listen to their friends, or they're not as prone to listen to their customers or people who kind of got them to the position that they're at. And I feel like that's what happened with the Xbox One at first, is that they were pretty arrogant, in my opinion. They're like, you know what, no, you have to get the Kinect, or no, you have to have it on. That was another thing that turned off a lot of people. You had to have the Xbox One connected to the internet at all times, and there was such backlash that the internet, like, okay, sorry, we're not going to have it, so you have to have the Xbox One on at all times. That was one of the big issues. A lot of people forgot about that, but that's what a lot of people like, okay, you know what, I love my 360, but you're making me be connected to the online all the time, and you're all this other stuff, and you're making me buy the Kinect. So a lot of people jump ship to PlayStation. A lot of people jump ship, not just because of all those other things you had to do, but also it was $100 more. So like I said, I wouldn't even started this YouTube channel without the Xbox brand. I love my 360. I ended up eventually getting an Xbox One, and I ended up playing a lot of great games for it. And so one of the things that shifted and changed not too long ago is you had, exclusives on the Xbox One, games like Halo 5, which you can't get anywhere else except the Xbox One brand. You had, of course, successful third-party games like GTA 5, and also games like Overwatch. Third-party games are very successful. And then, of course, you had exclusives like Xbox One. But things started to shift. Phil Spencer, he's done a good job with leadership in a lot of areas. But things shift because they're like, we're going to do the Play Anywhere, where if you get a digital game on the Xbox One, you'll be able to also play it on the PC, where it is a console exclusive. And so then what kind of like furthered the gap for a lot of people is there are a lot of people out there that had a gaming PC, and there were a lot of people out there that maybe didn't have a problem with getting an Xbox One if there were compelling games for it. But then a lot of PC gamers are like, okay, so I don't have to get an Xbox One anymore, because there are a lot of people, I think, don't quite understand how insanely successful PC gaming is. They're like, oh, PC gaming is dying. It's not dying. Like, I was just recently checking on Steam, and at its high point for the month, people on Steam were playing, like 3 million people at one time were playing PUBG. The PC gaming is still extremely successful. A lot of people still have a PC gaming unit. And so what happened was, with this shift, there was even less of reason to go for an Xbox One. Eventually they did drop that thing where you're like, you know what, yes, now you can buy the Xbox One with the Kinect. And so then a lot of people were like, well, were you even being really honest about that? Because all these games, I didn't even really use the Kinect with it, but I had it. I had to spend that extra $100. And so in time, they dropped the Kinect, but then in time, the price kept dropping very, very dramatically because, it wasn't selling that well. And then, of course, you've got the Xbox One X, and a decent amount of people bought that. But in terms of Xbox One console sales, people are still going for the Xbox One Slim. The whole point of this video I wanted to share with you guys is that I love the Xbox brand, whether you're talking about the original Xbox, which I had, Jade Empire, and I had Ninja Gaiden Black, Halo 2. Love those games. I had a lot of great memories on the original, Shenmue 2. A lot of great memories on the original Xbox. And the Xbox 360 made it possible for me to kind of propel and go forward with making videos on YouTube. Made a lot of different videos on the Xbox 360 brand. And then, of course, the Xbox One was released. The whole point of this video is that, of course, with going back with Xbox Live, people were maybe considering, is Microsoft going to have another Xbox? I could definitely see them having another Xbox system, mainly because, granted, they don't have exclusives like they did in the past. People are still buying a lot of games for it, and also the Xbox Live service. You've got, I think, over 25 million people with Xbox Live Gold. And so you're talking about 25 million people spending $50, $60 a pop. You're talking over $1 billion in sales alone for Xbox Live. Not to mention microtransactions, which, by the way, the first video I did was for Elder Scrolls 4. Elder Scrolls 4, for me, guys, was my first real introduction to microtransactions. Let me explain. I didn't really know about microtransactions. Now, microtransactions is crazy. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. But back on the Xbox 360, when I was playing Elder Scrolls Oblivion, you had to get, of course, from point A to point B. And sometimes walking would take a really long time. Well, in some cases, you could hop on a horse and travel a lot faster. But what we learned is if there was a bandit or a monster that attacked your horse, the horse was killed very easily. And then I was introduced to hey, you can actually spend real money, of your own real money, and buy this online DLC or online microtransaction. You can buy horse armor for your horse. So you've got this armor on your horse. That seemed really shady to me because this horse is so vulnerable. But if you want to help your horse, you have to spend real money. It was like $1.25 or $1.50. But there's a big uproar on that when that happened. Now microtransactions are just crazy today, but that happened over 10 years ago, I believe. But Xbox Live Gold, I could definitely see there being another Xbox after the Xbox One and the Xbox One S. But the whole thing, reason why I'm making this video, I know Phil Spencer's not going to watch this, Major Nelson's not going to watch this. A lot of people at Xbox aren't going to watch this because they've got other things that they're focusing or working on. I think if Xbox, the brand, wants to be successful again, like it was on the 360, if Xbox One wants to be successful, or whatever Xbox is going to come up next, they really have to focus on going back to making exclusives. You can still have console exclusives where things are on the PC, and I'm sure they're just going to continue, I don't know if they're going to continue to do timed stuff, but you need to have exclusives like you had with Halo 5. Granted, Halo 5, maybe a lot of people didn't like as much as the other Halo games, but you need to have those. The reason why I love the Xbox 360 so much is because it wasn't, granted, there were third-person shooters like Gears of War and first-person shooters like Halo, but it was far more than that. You had lots of JRPGs. You had lots of unique niche titles like Raiden 4. You had really unique experiences that were only available on the Xbox 360 brand. And I feel and I don't want this. I want the PlayStation and the Xbox to both be successful. I want Nintendo to be successful. I want everyone who got a system to be happy with their purchase. A lot of gamers out there, they don't have a lot of money. Maybe with some of these consoles. I remember when I got a system years ago as a teenager, I got my TurboGrafx 16 CD attachment. I worked an entire summer for that. That's the power of gaming, where people, whether they're doing yard work or they're doing really backbreaking work in some cases, because they love gaming so much. The powers that be, whether you're at Microsoft, the Xbox gaming division, please consider gamers out there, teenagers, young adults who don't have a lot of money. Maybe they're in college. They can't buy every system. They can't get a gaming PC. and they want something that they can be proud of, something that they can, I know that sounds ridiculous, proud of a gaming console, but they want to be happy with their purchase. They want to know that there are special, unique experiences on this that I can't play anywhere else. And so I really feel like there needs to be a shift from, obviously online gaming is important. That is, Xbox Live, they're really good at that. Xbox is really good at that. And they want to continue with the play anywhere, things like Sea of Thieves, which you could play on the PC and also the Xbox 360. But I really feel that if Xbox wants to continue self-systems like they did on the 360, that they really need to push hard on releasing more games that are exclusive only on that system, where you can't play anywhere else. A lot of you guys watching this might think I'm crazy, but that's what I think they need to focus on. The 360 was so varied on the amount of different games. So there was JRPGs, first-person shooters, third-person shooters, lots of third-party titles as well, but also other things, like I said, like shooting games, like Raiden and Death Smiles. I really hope that can happen. I don't want there just to be PlayStation. I love my PlayStation 4, but I want there to actually be a healthy gaming ecosystem where you just don't have one or two really big systems where, like, I believe Nintendo, Xbox, and PlayStation can be all extremely successful. And not to say that Xbox isn't successful to a certain point, but they're certainly not as successful as they were in their heyday on the 360. Again, this is my opinion. I would really appreciate your guys' opinion down below. Some of you guys maybe feel that it's too late for Xbox. They can't turn things around. And you know what? A lot of people felt the same way before the Xbox 360 was released. They're like, you know what? The PlayStation 2, the PlayStation brand has just far too strong foothold. There's no way the 360 will be successful. And that wasn't the case. The 360 was extremely successful, and I want that to continue on with the Xbox brand. A lot of people watching this own an Xbox One, and they might be really happy with your system. And if so, that's great. But I think things could really be better. Not to say things are perfect on Nintendo with the Switch, and things are not perfect with the PS4. There's issues and problems and things that could be improved. I'm just giving you my opinion because I really believe in the Xbox brand. I've had so many great memories. And when they really focused on the games and like, you know what, releasing this on the 360, releasing this on this 360, we're going to have a library that you're going to be really impressed with. Ultimately, it came down to something for everyone. They had strategy RPGs, they had Western RPGs, JRPGs, interesting shooters, really just quirky games, and there was something for everyone. But guys, let me know in the comment section below your thoughts on the Xbox brand. Do you feel it's too late for the system to turn things around? Or do you think, in fact, if they focused on changing things in a different direction, that they could really pick up steam and become a little more competitive? Let me know in the comment section below. This is I know, a different kind of video, but anyway, guys, I love all that you guys do, all of your comments, all your support. It is so much appreciated. As always, guys, thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you later.